I feel that nowadays, if girls are over 30 and go on blind dates, people will only introduce them to men who are divorced with children, or old men over 40. No matter what your education level is, whether you own a house, or how much you earn in a year, or what your value is, as long as you're older, you won't be considered better than a 20-year-old young and beautiful waitress. I'm really so sad. I don't even know how to say it. I want to cry, but I can't. When I say I want to find someone, and someone messages me, I can really understand that. I think to myself, if I can meet someone I like and who is suitable, should we go out? Then one day, someone added my contact. He said he was 50 years old. And I thought, if he has the courage to tell me he likes me at 50, he must be very handsome and wealthy. Then he sent me a photo. Isn't that insulting? This is truly a great humiliation. Isn't it a slap in my face? Am I that bad? I feel like I'm 35. And I really look like I'm 28. I feel that he, at 50, looks like he's 70. I really feel insulted. I think I shouldn't have to endure such insults and discrimination. He even told me that he spends half a year at home and half a year working outside. What does that have to do with me? Please, if everyone really wants to find someone, look at my requirements and conditions for blind dates. Don't mess around. It really annoys me, and if I get angry, I might end up cursing. In their logic, this girl can completely be sacrificed, can be abandoned. When my dad got sick, and until the month he passed away, suddenly a lot of aunts and strange relatives from my village, who I wasn't even very familiar with, came to my house wanting to arrange a marriage for me. Everyone was telling me, you need to find someone with good conditions to marry, so it'll be easier to take care of your brother. To me, this seemed like an extremely absurd thing. The people they were trying to introduce to me, in my view, were a bit strange, like carpenters, bricklayers, all much older than me. The people they were trying to set me up with were equally outrageous. Some were known from mahjong tables. Although I don't consider myself very attractive, at least I went to college. Why are you introducing me to these people who seem like they only graduated from middle school? At that time, I found all of this very incomprehensible. In their logic, this girl can completely be sacrificed, can be abandoned. Her greatest value is to secure more benefits for her brother, even concerning her marriage. Only my dad felt very, very angry. He would tell me, don't rush to get married. I think these people are not good enough for you. Now that you've graduated from university, after I'm gone, you can find a job and support yourself. I would hope you find someone you like, at least someone who has studied like you. In this world, only my dad truly cared about me, arranging things for me. During that time, I probably thought about giving up 5, 6, 7, 8 times, but in some moments I would also think, why not just leave it like this? Then, I considered finding someone to marry back in my hometown. Eventually, I tried to date a boy for a while, and when I went to his house, coming out of there, I fell into a state of fear, thinking, is this how I'm going to live my whole life? Am I going to stay in this small town forever, facing my mom and my brother? In this situation, nobody would care about how I was doing. For my mom, she just hoped I would quickly get married, find someone to marry. At that moment, I felt like I didn't want to stay at home anymore.
After having met so many people through arranged dates when I was 26, a guy told me that I was getting old because he wanted someone who was 25 and could have children. By the time I turned 30, other guys also said I was old, stating they needed someone who was 27. I later realized that when I entered the game, I had already lost. Everyone only saw the value of my uterus and did not recognize my worth in other areas. As the arranged dates progressed, some people began to see value. At that point, they started asking me if I could help them with their mortgage issues, or if I could assist with legal matters in their companies. There was a resource exchange where they knew I was getting older. So they would first tell me what their situation was, what they needed from me, and what they hoped to gain. Sometimes I felt it wasn't necessary. If it was like that, it would be better to just be friends, as I didn't need to get involved romantically to help someone for free. But I later realized that for women of my age there were a few paths to take. One path was genuinely lowering standards, living with men who didn't own houses or cars, and perhaps even needing to use their car and house to get by together. Another possibility was to be a bit luckier, finding those who had become financially free after leaving publicly traded companies, being supported by men. The third option was becoming a mistress to a boss. And the fourth option was my situation, where I didn't want to be supported by anyone and also didn't have anyone to support me, and I didn't want to lower my standards. Another possibility is to be a strong businesswoman, but I didn't manage to become one. If I could, perhaps I could turn my situation around, which might make life easier, but I seem to have chosen the hardest path. If you could go back in time and give a piece of advice to your 25-year-old self, what would you say? Find any man and marry him. Because I realize that, from my youth until now, the number of men I've met has been in a straight decline. Therefore, I feel that after 25, any man I encounter is better than the ones I meet afterward. I remember that one of them was from an internet company, with a bit of the idea of a Phoenix man. I asked him which internet company it was, but he didn't tell me. He said it was from a big company. After we met, he said that women my age should be more proactive. Now, in Hangzhou, there are many daughters of people who have been displaced looking for sons-in-law. The idea was that we shouldn't be demanding. I've been on over 100 dates, maybe around 50 times. People in Zhejiang have a saying that Zhejiang women don't marry outside. My mother always asks me to go back to Zhejiang to find a partner. Back then, I was already exploring dating sites and registered on the most popular ones. There were also some introductions from classmates, all those experiences. In addition, there were people in car enthusiast circles who were also looking for partners. Have you ever met someone who really impressed you? Yes, I remember one of them was from an internet company, with a bit of the Phoenix man idea. I asked him which company it was, but he didn't tell me. He said it was from a big company. After we met, he said that women my age should be more proactive, and now in Hangzhou, there are many daughters of displaced people looking for sons-in-law. He wanted me to position myself more humbly. I didn't want to talk much with him because I felt we couldn't connect. He was always belittling others and elevating himself. After I left, I went to the underground parking lot, and he wanted to follow me. He even said that I wasn't that young anymore, that I should consider the conditions of internet companies, that the income was good. After he said all that, I asked him to get out of the car and told him to go home. I cried the whole way because it seemed like he hadn't even bought a house. Why was he so confident? He was criticizing me just because I was a bit older. I felt that they really have some kind of inexplicable discrimination against women over 30. Blind dates can affect self-esteem, and I felt I needed to improve my appearance. So at 30 I had nose surgery, also on my chin, and I'm correcting my teeth. In fact, I feel that my teeth are not in good condition, so I don't like to smile much. In Hangzhou, maybe because there are many influencers, I really feel that in a city like this I feel very inferior. Additionally, when I attend some parties, I see that my friends are in good conditions. They also make efforts. It's a burden. This has to do with the social circle because my friends also undergo procedures, and they really end up looking better.
Over 30 years old and single, I went on a blind date and heard a phrase that hit me hard, making me collapse instantly. This is a heart-wrenching story. In the city, there's a matchmaking spot that's very lively. At night, it's as bustling as during the day. Here, countless parents gather, bringing their daughters in search of suitable partners. My niece, an exceptional woman, graduated with a master's degree, has a brilliant career and a stable salary. However, now that she's over 30, she has had more than 50 blind dates but still hasn't found her other half. I remember National Day. On a sunny day, I accompanied her to this matchmaking corner. She seemed a bit lonely, and her eyes were filled with confusion and expectation for the unknown. As we walked around, suddenly a tall, attractive young man caught our attention. He was also weaving through the crowd, clearly looking for his destiny. I gathered my courage and approached him. He introduced himself warmly, a 35-year-old undergraduate working in the IT field, with a considerable salary. When he saw my niece, a glimmer of appreciation appeared in his eyes, and he expressed that if there was mutual interest, they could move forward. I, filled with hope, began to introduce my niece, but his response left us both stunned. With a smile, he said, "We probably aren't a good match." I immediately got anxious and asked why. He looked at me with a serious expression and said, "I'm looking for a wife, not just a partner with compatible conditions. I already have a house and a car. He continued, "You're too old, like a wilting peony, almost without its last fragrance." He didn't want to marry her just to care for her in old age. I wouldn't accept that kind of transaction. I was speechless. My niece, standing beside me, turned pale, and tears flowed from her eyes like pearls from a broken string. He trembled as he stood up and walked away, murmuring, "What am I supposed to do?" In this world, men in their 30s seek girls in their 20s, and at my age, do I only deserve men in their 40s or even divorced men? Hearing that made me uncomfortable. It's true, perhaps this is just life. It always teaches you a lesson when you least expect it. He, once young and picky, now finds himself in this situation. It's a reflection of life's response to his stubbornness. Now it's the men's turn to be picky with him. That's the fairness of life. It never favors anyone. I silently followed behind him, unable to bear seeing him so sad. I knew that at this moment, he needed not only comfort but also the courage to face reality and the determination to start over. "Xiaofan, wait for me," I called softly. He stopped but didn't look back. I quickly walked up to him, gently holding his hand, hoping to bring him some warmth. His voice trembled, filled with endless confusion and insecurity. "Aunt, do you think I can still find true love in this life?" I looked at him, took a deep breath, and slowly said, "Xiaofan, life is long, and no one can predict the future. But you must know that true love is worth waiting for and that we need to work hard to find it. What you're experiencing is just a test from life. You must believe that as long as you persist, you will eventually find someone who truly understands and loves you." After hearing this, a glimmer of hope shone in his eyes, as if he had rediscovered hope. He lifted his head, looked into the distance, and a smile appeared on his lips, as if he could already see a bright future. "Thank you, Aunt," he said softly, tightly gripping my hand as if wanting to keep that warmth forever in his heart. I couldn't help but feel emotional. Life is like a grand play, and we are all actors, playing our respective roles, whether with joy or sorrow, gaining or losing. But no matter what, we must face it because that is life, a reality that everyone must confront.
There is nothing wrong with what you said, 30-year-old lady. Who told you to be so demanding when you were younger? Now that you are older, your dating options are limited, and you will probably only be able to go on blind dates with people your age or even older. Chinese men are quite concise in their opinions and do not let themselves be swayed by societal pressure. They prefer to stay single rather than enter into a relationship with a woman who cannot provide a family. Although I have made several videos about women who have awakened to this reality and lowered their demands, realizing that their value is no longer the same as when they were 25, the majority still fit the profile I showcased in today's video. They do not understand that their value in the relationship market has changed, and they become confused as to why Chinese matchmakers only present them with low-value men. The matchmakers who organize these blind dates know very well the value these women have to offer in a relationship. Therefore, they are introduced to men who are willing to engage with them. However, these men typically do not have a high standing in society. Many of these women are arrogant and selfish, living in a world of illusions, believing that they have much greater value and are not being adequately recognized. What do you think about this topic? I want to know your opinion. Do these women still have the right to choose a standout man, or should they just accept the consolation prize, which would be normal men, and be content with them? If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's discuss more dilemmas like this and open a healthy field of discussion to see the perspectives of various people on this subject. I'll see you in the next video.